It may be winter, but spring sports are registering now for Everplay Sports and Social. Barrett again from the All About Nothing podcast, and right now through February 19th, you can sign up for Tuesday's Super Rec Same Team Pitch Kickball at M Avenue, Wednesday Kickball at M Avenue, Thursday Kickball at B Avenue and M Avenue, Indoor Volleyball on Mondays at Tri-City Leisure Center, Tuesday Indoor Volleyball at Tri-City Leisure Center, Tuesday Sand Volleyball at Pollywogs, Thursday Sand Volleyball at Pollywogs, Sunday Softball or Monday Softball at Pacific Park, Tuesday Bowling at Bolero in Casey, Wednesday Cornhole at Jay's Corner, Monday Pickleball at Casey Pickleball Complex, or Wednesday Soccer at B Avenue and Bray Park Field. Check out everplaysocial.com for more information and registration. Again, everplaysocial.com. Everplay Sports and Social League. Play, socialize, and have fun.
The All About Nothing podcast may have language and content
that isn't appropriate for some.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, Nothingers, to another episode of the All About Nothing podcast. This is episode number 238. I am Barrett Gruber.
I'm Zach King, and Barrett did write something down because he was staring at it.
I have notes for the intro and the outro. That's what I do. You know what? All right. Please subscribe and share the show. That's how we get new listeners. Also, if you could, please consider supporting the show financially by visiting our webpage and clicking on the support link. If you can't do that, please drop us a review, hit the 5 stars, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. All of that helps drive us up higher in all of these show rating platforms. TheAllAboutNothing.com is where you can find that information. If you've joined us and this is your first time here, thank you very much for being here. We'd love for you to subscribe to the show, follow us wherever. We're on all the social media. All the links are on our webpage, TheAllAboutNothing.com. We didn't actually plan on doing a show tonight, but I am recording Saturday at Soul House with Preach Jacobs, local Columbia, South Carolina star, as well as Donald Brock, who is the guy that runs the Soda City Comic Con, as well as the Wilmington Coastal Comic Con. And
he's also the guy when you walk past a dark alley and you're like, you swore you saw something. You did. It was Donald Brock.
It's a little creepy. But yeah, so we're gonna have Donald Brock on for the episode following this one, as well. Leroy Jenkins. Nope. Leroy Green is gonna join us.
He's gonna love it.
No
Keep it
way.
in pocket. We're doing it live.
Leroy Green, formerly of WLTX.
Ooh, if you would
19.
have said Brown, I would have been like,
yeah. Look. I confess, my age just takes a toll.
I think you know too many Leroys.
It's possible. You know what? And I don't think I knew any Leroys before this Leroy.
Only one's real.
There's only one of them. Yeah, 100%. That is not inaccurate. So next episode, we're going to be discussing the Coastal Comic Con, which is coming up in Wilmington on March 1st and 2nd. Unfortunately, Zach will not be able to join us.
Maybe-ish. We talked about...
we did talk about that a little bit.
We talked about I could show up.
I think that would be fun.
I see no reason why not, as long as my wife's not like, it could happen any minute with the pregnancy.
I think that early. I think we're talking beginning of March. I think that's a little early for any minute now.
Sure.
But you know, so Sam Witwer's going to be there. Matthew Wood is going to be there, right? Matthew Watterson is going to be there. Cal Dodd is going to be there. These are Cal Dodd, Matthew Watterson. These are guys. This is the voice of Magneto from the X-Men '97, and Cal Dodd is the voice of Wolverine from the X-Men animated series from 1993 all the way through now. So it's going to be a really big deal and a fun time out there in Wilmington.
That's 4 out of 4 show homies.
Yeah,
well, we didn't interview 2 of them. We did.
That is correct. We didn't get to interview Cal Dodd and Matthew Wood. We did not. We did Sam Witwer and Matthew Watterson, and they were fantastic. I actually reached out to Matthew Watterson on Instagram and asked him if he'd be willing to come on the show with us for a little while before the Coastal Comic Con. He has seen my message and he did not respond, which is,
well, that's when you go like, I know you've seen this. I don't want to be that guy.
Look, you've responded to a message from me now, and you can't cut that off. I don't know how Instagram works, but I know I can keep sending you messages till you respond.
We'll tell Guy, and if Guy has to give you a personal cell phone call, it will happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't sound like Guy's going to be at Coastal Con this year.
That sucks because he was an awesome interview too.
He was fantastic.
Sunspot.
Yeah, Sunspot on X-Men 97. I'm hoping that we get an opportunity to speak with Guy at some point. I know he's going to be here in Columbia or in South Carolina at some point because he's going to be heading up to Greenwood. Nope, Greenwood. Yep, he's going to be heading up to Greenwood at some point. So we'll try and get a hold of him when he does that.
We got the net gun ready.
Yeah, that's right. Tasers, whatever it takes to put down a sunspot.
That's slow. Yeah.
Also want to make sure to remind everybody, Everplay Sports and Social is signing up for their spring here in Columbia area. Spring leagues are signing up now. You can go to everplaysocial.com and sign up for whether it's volleyball, kickball, softball. They got a whole list of things. I'm going to be in the bowling on Tuesday nights at Casey's Bolero. So go check out everplaysocial.com. And also a reminder, go check out the t-shirts and designs and prints and whatnot over at ZJZ Designs, ZJZdesigns.com. You can check that out and find plenty of things that you potentially want to wear. There's a whole lineup of patriotic stuff. I know the inauguration is coming up, and maybe you want to wear something for the inauguration. They have sad faces too. So actually,
the elf? Just have the elf drooping a flag. Like
my suggestion now is that we need some sad art on the on there as well. Zach, I may have inadvertently blown up on TikTok a little while ago, earlier today, as well as on YouTube. So between YouTube and TikTok, I'm looking at like 6,000 views on a video that I posted specifically about Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has now ordered that the flags for the inauguration on the Capitol be flown at full staff. And that is because over the course of the last 2 weeks, Donald Trump has been basically publicly crying about the fact that he would be the only president in history to ever be inaugurated with flags at half staff. Now, I knew I didn't know there was another president. I was going to let it go. I didn't know there was another president that had been inaugurated with their flags at or with the Capitol flags at half staff.
You're not the only one, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And honestly, I was just going to let it go. I wasn't going to say anything. It was just going to be one of those, Donald Trump's being, Donald Trump, and was just ultimately going to just let it go. But then when Mike Johnson ordered that the flags for the inauguration are going to be at full staff, even though President Carter passed away less than 30 days ago, I decided that it was probably something needed to be said. So friend of the show, Ami, hostess of the podcast, Welcome to Wonderland, which you can find everywhere as well. She mentioned this morning, or she asked me if there had been another president, and I was like, I have no idea. I didn't look. And so she pulled it up, and sure enough, it was Harry Truman had passed away 25 days before the inauguration, the second inauguration of President Nixon. And I found photographic evidence of the flags at half staff in the 1973 inauguration of Richard Nixon.
Do we think Richard Nixon gave a shit?
I don't think he remotely cared. And honestly, it's probably because he had a bunch of other stuff going on with Watergate. The likelihood was he was concerned with other things.
These flags are lower than they should be. I just wanted to point that out while I'm here.
I accept that these are lower.
I don't know who Terry Sherman is, but
yeah. So I made a video that all it did was basically just point out the fact, hey, here is photographic evidence that there was a president in modern day history who was inaugurated with flags at half staff because of the death of another previous president.
Now, a certain demographic that uses one platform understood, mocked, laughed, and a certain platform was just full of blissful, ignorant GFB craziness.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. The amount of views and support and comments on TikTok that were accepting of the information, that were responsive to it, was overwhelming. It was more than I expected. On the YouTube, the number of comments that were made that were honestly, some of them were just downright like attacking me. Like one commenter, I'm trying to find it. One commenter actually said, he told me to get a life. He said, you'll need a vast amount of cope to make it through the next 4 years. To which I said, sadly, this is my life.
The thing that bothers me the most is the grammar is insane. Like if there was some tribunal where we got like we were about to get like Ed Stark like executed for being like, I think people should be able to control their own lives. They're like, no. So we're about to get beheaded. The thing that would like make me the most depressed outside of losing my life is seeing some dude hold a sign that instead of worst, it says worse. Because you know exactly what comment I'm talking about. Because I was just like, yeah, I would just cut it off. I don't want to be here anymore. Let's go.
So here's for the people commenting on YouTube that are trying to either hurt my feelings or put me in my place or whatever. I love it. I'm here for it. So the comment was, get a life. You'll need a vast amount of cope to make it through the next 4 years. Laughy face, laughy face, laughy face. And I responded. I said, yeah, sadly, this is my life. And then somebody else said, take it easy on him. He's still living with his mother. I'll have you know, that one I take offense at, because I don't live with my mother. I haven't lived with my, and she listens to this show, so she can come to my defense in the show notes. Or I'm sorry, Mom, if you could please comment that I haven't lived with you since 2000.
Tell them all that. Tell them that he does not live with you.
I am not.
Your other son does.
I am not living. That's right. I am not living with my mother. And to which my response was, bold claim. Thanks for helping with the algorithm. And then somebody else responded, that's all you got. We know what you like. That one confused me. I'm not sure where that one was going.
I think the worst one is gone. And I use that correctly. But he was like, I lived during the time of Jimmy Carter and he was the worst president.
I did. I saw that one.
He was the worst. He was the worst one.
Taken down.
Idiot.
And that was purely by his choice. I'm here for it. All of the negative comments, whatever it is that people want to say, I don't thrive off of it. It's not that I get something out of it, but it is entertaining. And the amount of work that some of these below 50 IQ people have put into it is just, I enjoy it. One guy commented, Daddy Trump is home. And I said, you don't, and I looked at his profile. I went and looked at it. I said, you don't look like the kind of guy to call a man daddy, but man, good for you. I said, some have a really hard time coming out, so kudos.
Someone must have yelled at him like, finish cleaning the septic tank.
So I'm dumbfounded by the fact that, like, one person even responded like, oh, you went and did research. It's like, yes, because if I didn't know something just based on just hearing something and not knowing it, if it sparks an interest in me, I'm going to research it. I'm going to look it up to see potentially what it is that's being, whether it's true or whether, what background there is to it. I'm going to look it up just because it potentially has me interested.
Barrett, can I bring in a special guest to see if they know it?
Okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Gemini.
Hey there. What can I do for you today?
Was there any president that was inaugurated while the flags were at half staff?
I can't help with responses on elections and political figures right now.
Oh, no.
He took the middle lane.
He did take
if he didn't have that leash on him, he'd tell you.
Yeah. So trying to check with artificial intelligence systems to decipher whether or not they know if a president was elected or inaugurated with the flag at half staff.
It's kind of wild that it will not comment politically anything about political stuff.
See, and that to me doesn't strike me as a politically left or politically right thing.
It's just a fact. What's a fact?
But yeah, so just a heads up. If anyone listening to this goes on to any of our social medias and they find some of the posts and there's a desire to comment that would potentially be, I don't know, would potentially be trying to be negative or try and incite some sort of rage out of me or Zach. It's not going to happen. I acknowledge to someone that, my early years of living here in Columbia, South Carolina, I did comedy. I did stand-up comedy. I guess Zach and I are just built differently than some people when it comes to how we respond to critiques and not even non-critiques, just flat out it's stupid. That's
like a lot like 50 Cent. You can find me in the club.
In the club. Yeah. So that was my day today. We are we're 5 days, I guess 4 days away from the TikTok ban going into effect. So by the time most people are listening to this episode, because if you're not a member, if you're not a paid member for the podcast, then
if there was ever a time to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that honestly, look, I have jumped onto this mass following thing that's been going on. Have you seen any of these? So on TikTok, there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, if TikTok's going away, let's do a mass following. Let's blow it up. Let's everybody become, 1,000 followers and just see how far we can take it. And
everyone follow Matt Gaetz.
I was shocked at the number of 16-year-olds on Matt Gaetz's thing. You'd think they would have been warned by now. But I've every time I see a mass follow come on, I like, share, subscribe, or follow, and then I share it or reshare it, whatever. And it's pushed me over the 600 mark. I haven't done it on the podcast's TikTok because I don't know. I find myself on mine more often than the podcast one, but yeah, I encouraging it. Look, before TikTok's degrades, I say everybody do everything you can to make the most out of it. There's
TikTok
a lot of
used to be fun.
It's still fun. There's just the looming fear that its success is going to not. I guess the success is going to come to a demise.
It's going to completely ruin our other podcast.
That's a fact. In fact, what the pod was that is going to have to potentially convert into a show where Carrie just tells us stories about her dating life, and to which our response will be, "The pod was that?"
While we sip on mayonnaise shots.
Oh gosh. I mean, we could.
That just felt like a booger. It didn't even have aftertaste. Just like that one you can't spit out at that time that you got down right after you were sick, and you just have to swallow it.
It was bad. What Zach's talking about is we did the tapeworm shot, which was like vodka. It was vodka, Tabasco sauce, black pepper, and then
mayonnaise.
A squirt of mayonnaise, which made it look like it was a tapeworm.
And I got the biggest shot of mayonnaise. Don't get me wrong, I love me some mayonnaise, but Jesus Christ, that was just a booger, hot booger.
It was not one that I will ever try again. I could say I've tried it now. That's all I needed.
I would try it again if we could blend it. Like if we could just get the mayonnaise into the vodka hot sauce mix.
Yeah, but I think the whole point of it was that you needed that texture of liquid versus whatever the mayonnaise.
The booger swallow. It literally was just like a clump that went.
I feel like I just swallowed it straight down. I don't even remember.
It's like the weak version of like, apparently in Alaska, you can kiss the toe in the bottle of vodka up there. And then the worm in Tijuana.
Yeah.
And I don't know, chicken lips in Kentucky, whatever else they do. Like, it's one of those. It's just like, In Missouri, they probably drink it for fun.
Oh, so to everybody potentially watching us on
no
TikTok
offense, Lori.
Missouri, yeah. Lori will have to tell us whether or not she actually does the.
You guys like mayonnaise in your beverages? This here sweet punch is delicious if it had a little squid of mayonnaise on top.
It's definitely something that should never be included. There should not be anything semi-solid in your drink. I mean, ice is fine, but
I saw this video on TikTok of this girl that was obsessed with the Ninja Turtles. She like goes into debt, like buying the movie heads and stuff like that. The movie heads are cool. That I was like, I don't know, I'd probably go into debt for that. I'm just kidding. But she also every day had to eat a pizza and make it weird because the Ninja Turtles made it weird. One of her pizzas that was weird was just like she ordered like a deep dish and just covered the top in mayonnaise. No cheese, like it had cheese and everything, but under it she coated it just like it was just a white pizza covered in mayonnaise.
That seems so unnecessary. Like I get the bit.
You try it, right? It wasn't a bit. This girl's mentally insane. Her room is covered with Ninja Turtles. She dresses up like it and reenacts it on her front lawn.
Is it flavored mayonnaise, like spicy mayonnaise? Just flat out Duke's mayonnaise. I'm gonna say no. I mean, I've had egg on pizza. I've had
pineapple, all the other
pineapple, stuff. I'm trying to think.
I would try the mayonnaise slice. I would take a slice of her mayonnaise covered pizza. I would not do Miracle Whip.
Well, I'm not a Miracle Whip fan, anyhow. I
can't do the Miracle Whip.
Miracle Whip is salad dressing to me. That's
my dad always tried to trick me. He'd be like, "Make a bologna sandwich. Just go ahead and put Miracle Whip on it. We don't need mayonnaise." I was like, "Dad, that's a sin. We don't do that here.
Like a sin.
That's not okay. I'll never buy Miracle Whip."
Well, I guess the question then.
And how would you put it on? How would you put Miracle Whip on a salad?
You make salad dressing out of Miracle Whip.
Oh, is that what it is? It's an ingredient for.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no insanity is just putting flat Miracle Whip on a salad.
On a salad.
You've crossed a line.
Yeah.
The people in the white coats are here to help.
Yeah. I don't know. I still want to see what do you mix it with? You're just like honey mustard and Miracle Whip.
I guess. I don't know. I'm not the person that's going to be like, oh, we should add Miracle Whip to that. Those words only came out of my mouth now. They're never going to come out of my mouth again.
I just think the guy who created Miracle Whip was like, what if I made mayonnaise grosser? Tom, no.
How could the world be wrong? How can I make the world more wrong? Here, I mean, we just survived.
There's orange specks in this mayonnaise-ish substance.
It's 1952. The world just survived the Nazi regime. Here's Miracle Whip.
Bill made it home after a mortar hit his helmet. He didn't die. Well, what did he do? He made Miracle Whip.
He choked on Miracle Whip.
I got an idea. No thanks, Larry.
I just want you to know there is no support for Miracle Whip in the comments on our TikTok. Nobody has said anything in support of Miracle Whip.
Wait, is it the inverse? Everyone's like, boo.
No, nobody said anything. There's 70 people watching out there, and nobody has said anything about Miracle Whip. No support for Miracle Whip.
Participation is part of it, just like voting. Get out here and tell us your heartfelt thoughts on Miracle Whip.
The things that should trend on this is what I want on TikTok. I want Miracle Whip to trend.
One guy's like, "It's okay, lube." You're like, "So you don't have to follow anymore."
Hashtag Miracle Whip.
It helps me whip it. Whip it good.
So with TikTok potentially coming to an end, I'm curious. Have you seen any of the stuff about this Red Note? With that's an actual Chinese app available in the United States.
No.
So I have seen a lot of videos that people are posting that they are looking at the videos on Red Note, and like their people on Red Note in China are responding to people in the United States joining their app, and it seems like it's taken off pretty well. There's a lot of people that have done it. They're calling themselves TikTok refugees. And some of the people that are on there are just like, oh, I'm so excited. There's Americans on here because the Chinese version of TikTok versus the American US version of TikTok, we don't have access to those people, and they don't have access to these people. So there's been a real community.
That's so weird. It's just like Red Note, brought to you by Xi Jinping. No thanks.
So
I don't know why they're banning TikTok and don't ban like Omegle.
What is Omegle?
It's like where you can like chat roulette kind of thing, like where you just. And China can use it. They do use it. Other countries use it. You're like dick person. Are you okay? They're like, there's their dick. dick. It's I don't know. They're banning TikTok for no reason. The only thing I support like needs to be fixed is you're giving China your information if you buy things off of like TikTok Shop.
Sure.
Which it has turned into like, GNN or whatever the shopping channel was.
There are a lot of ads. I will say this about Red Note. What I have seen so far on Red Note, because Julie joined. What I have seen is there are virtually no ads. They probably don't
have the infrastructure for ads and to ship shit yet.
Potentially, but it's honestly, and Kelly's right. Temu is bad about too. But there is, I don't know. There's a genuine sense of like community, and it seems like they're so appreciative of Americans joining on Red Note, and people are interacting well. Look, I'm going to say this: if there's ever some sort of a fight or a war between China and the United States, it isn't us citizens versus them citizens. It is just governments. I have no interest in ever seeing any harm come to the Chinese people.
It's just I don't hate Russians. I don't hate Ukrainians. I don't hate the Chinese. I don't hate the Taiwanese, Japanese, Koreans. I definitely don't hate North Koreans. It's literally the people in charge can't get around on it, and they try to rally you to not like them as well. It's like I think we've grown as a society just to be like most of it, like not even most of us, but the select few of us. If you're watching this still, it's probably you included. People are people. They're and literally no different than you.
Yeah.
I mean, the Iranians, for instance, there's so many Iranian youths that want Western culture to be there. They want to wear jeans and stuff. They want the sneakers, but they're ran by totalitarian regimes and shit like that. These countries, just like ours, isn't truly listening to us.
Right.
We think it is with voting, but dude, who knows how voting works anymore at the end of the day? Like now they're saying there was issues with the Trump being elected. Of course, we had Mr. My Pillow, Mike Lindell, telling us how Trump was robbed in 2020 of it. At the end of the day, you go, I think we've kind of gone too far with this. We're not hating each other, but you're making us hate each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now, and again, I think that it even back into the 50s and 60s and 70s when Russia was the big, or I guess the Soviet Union was the big bad.
The Red Scare.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was ever American people versus Soviet people. I think it was the American government versus the Soviet government. It was that was always the way it was. Somebody that I used to work with made a comment when Trump was running the first time in 2016, and after everything started coming out about the Russian collusion and things like that, this guy who is ultra conservative is red, white, and blue everything, and kudos to him for having that level of commitment. But he said to me, he asked me, he was like, why should I hate Russia just for being Russia? And at the time I said I'm not suggesting that you hate Russia. I'm not suggesting that you take out ads on social media, portraying your vision of disgust over Russia. I have no interest in that. I don't think the problem's the Russians. I think the problem is, Vladimir Putin or, whoever's in charge. But he was like, why should I hate him? And I said, you shouldn't. He said, but if it comes down to what their honestly, for me, it's what the Russian government does to the Russian people. The fact that, what was it? Tucker Carlson went over to Russia to interview with Putin, and he thought he had this out, just amazing interview with Vladimir Putin.
Then Putin was like, what a weak ass.
Yeah. Putin released on his own TV networks. He was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. Like, this guy, he kissed my ass the entire time. Like what people didn't even see on the show or the Twitter episode or whatever They were like, he basically gave me the questions ahead of time. He let me lead him down whatever. And then he did a whole thing where he was walking around the grocery store. I was like, oh, the food's less expensive here. Look, this is a loaf of bread.
Yeah, what an idiot.
And I look at that and I'm like, you don't understand the fundamentals of communism if you can't recognize that the food there is subsidized.
Well, and then like so just cognitive dissonance big time.
Yeah.
Just being like, how cheap this food is, and then being like, I guess communism might work a little bit. These bananas in Russia. Like, dude, that's the most insane. And like when I think about countries like Russia and North Korea and China, I think Russia, I think Putin. What a dick. I don't hate Russians.
Yeah.
I think of their government. What a dick. I think of China. I think Xi Jinping, Winnie the Pooh, the softest damn leader they've ever had in China. I think North Korea, Kim Jong-il, the weakest, softest, just the softest, dumbest boy. Like it's the leaders. It's not the people. And I know that it has to be that way when Australians or Chinese or the UK looks at America. I don't think they go straight to all Americans are dumb. I think they go like, holy shit, your leadership and your government is fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I see it. I literally do not go, how ridiculous are the English? How ridiculous are the Chinese or the North Koreans? Can't these North Koreans do something about their stoplight actor culture? Like, no. Like, it's ridiculous.
No, and they absolutely cannot. Like, they can't.
Because the threat of getting your ankles broken in a mine while breaking rocks is insane.
If they wanted to leave the country, they can't.
When the lights go out, you go inside and don't you say anything.
Yeah. Yeah. When TV crews from, Western countries like the United States or the UK or whatever, like when they come to North Korea to like film specials or film documentaries or whatever, it's virtually like a ghost town. And it's like, even
when you do see people that they're state hired actors.
Yeah. Yeah.
That will not talk to the people that are there to film.
Do you think that the level of intelligence, like technologically in North Korea, is as advanced as, say, I don't know, the United States or China or like, I'm
not even remotely. I think the things that North Korea gets, they'll get through trade, but there's no, like, for instance, there's not a North Korean citizen looking for a better HDMI cable, right? Like, there's not any, much less are they watching anything like they would need it, right? So they're just going to get state-sponsored television. That's what you watch, right? That's what you get. There's no bigger, better. Everyone's equal on the most dismal of levels of existence. And there's even, like, I think, like, North Korea builds buildings just to build buildings and have them exist. Like, they built, I think there was even supposed to be a Trump Tower in North Korea at one point. If I could be wrong. It was either modeled after it. They completely stopped, but it's still now the tallest building in North Korea. It is literally no one's ever lived there. There was no plans for anyone to live there. It's just a building to be part of the great caper that is North Korea.
Yeah. So Cooper had a comment. He said it's hard to have equal tech without the industry to support it, and that's true. I agree that you can't. Especially if you don't have like advanced universities that are teaching these advanced skills and things like that. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, you don't want North Korea is not a country that wants you to know stuff. And if you do, you're going to work for the government and then you're going to shut up and do as you're told. There's not going to be any,
advancement,
workshopping or like, all right, the rocket didn't fly as far as we wanted it to. Get in this room.
You show up and it's like, where's the water cooler? We don't go to the water cooler here.
Kind of like how Bob Lazar talked about working on that UFO. You and Bob work on the UFO. You're not talking to any other departments about building this rocket and how any other part works in conjunction with your part.
Yeah.
Make your part good.
Yeah.
That's it. Figure this out. I've seen so many videos of like Westerners visiting North Korea, and the actors to me is still the most insane part. That the government let's call it hires, but gets people to pretend to be having a good time.
Yeah.
But when the people who are there to visit come to like interview them and ask them about the town, the city, they'll just walk away and not talk to them. They went. I saw them go to a car dealership, and there was people looking at cars. They tried to talk to the people looking at cars. They would just walk away from them, not even talk to them.
Yeah.
And they were like, "These are government actors."
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And of course, in a society like that, like in North Korea, that's the image you want to maintain. You want to have the image of a freedom or the ability to go out and say, buy a car or go to the grocery store and pick out what you want to eat. But that isn't, if the cameras aren't on, that's probably not what's going on. So,
I mean, they killed one of our citizens. He got arrested for, I can't remember what he did, but he was so malnourished by the time we got him, he died basically like on the way to America.
I remember something about that.
Stick you in a camp and you're breaking rocks until the rocks are no longer to be broken. Then you get another rock and you're going to break that down. Like, it's just, I don't understand. I think what boggles my mind is I don't understand any productivity in a system like that.
I can't.
They're going to do everything you tell them to do. But like, if they went to war with somebody, you're going to fight the most malnourished people ever, right? Like, they've been grinding a war machine for the most part. And that's it.
Cooper also just said North Korea has a TikTok account that's purely, I guess that is all they're showing is the state actors, the government actors out there doing.
That'd be interesting. We got to find that.
Yeah, I might have to look for that. I guess so. By the time this episode airs on Monday, TikTok ban will likely be in place. I don't see the Supreme Court stepping in to issue a stay. I think there is a possibility that there is a bill that has been that is attempting to be introduced to the floor of the House or the Senate, one of them, that could potentially at least stay the ban for 160 days or 260 days or something like that. But I think even in that situation, all they're going to do is just keep kicking the ban down the road because this is an app that has more than 170 million Americans on it. There is a serious level of commerce that does take place. Even if I get annoyed at the number of ads that I scroll past, I admittedly have bought products off the TikTok shop. I absolutely have. These little I'm not looking for sponsorship, not with 5 days left, but these wireless microphones that I use to record content with, I got those off the TikTok shop. Like, and they're decent. I mean, they're good enough for me. I bought some of the Fantic stuff. I have a Fantic screwdriver and a Fantic vacuum cleaner now.
How dare you buy stuff from China? I don't have anything in my house made in China.
Do not check where that microphone was made there, Zach. Do not look at the manufacturer on that microphone.
I don't care if TikTok dies at the end of the day. I think it's some of the dumbest shit that could possibly be litigated. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like, dude, I mean, we have people like the Rizzler that exists, and I'm just like, TikTok's like, is that it? Like, what else? You don't like when kids say bet and cap? Is that why we're like, there's no reason behind it. It's insane. We'll just stick to our YouTube shorts and our Facebook shorts. And
yeah. Well,
we'll write out TikTok. It'll get no support, and then our apps just won't work eventually.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
You won't be able to download it. So if you don't have TikTok now, go ahead and download it while you still can, and just ride the wave.
Yeah. I mean,
TikTok, do America a favor, just never update. We're all going to run on the same update the entire time until we crash it.
I think that's all you can do. I guess the last thing I want to talk about, of course, by the time this episode comes out and everybody starts listening to it, by the way, theallaboutnothing.com is where you can find links to all of our shows. as well as our social media and merchandise and a support link where you can actually become a member of the show and participate. The allaboutnothing.com. The 20th.
Send the All About Nothing podcast to Honolulu, Hawaii.
Yeah, we could do an episode. You guys send us to Honolulu. We'll do 10 episodes.
Barrett will get in the shark cage and swim with a great white.
I don't have any fear of that for some reason. That thing doesn't scare me. I don't know why.
I'll be holding on to the thing, just like, go Barrett, swim.
I'm wearing chainmail. But so the 20th, as of whatever time, 12 o'clock p.m. on the 20th, Donald Trump will have been inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States. And I don't want to speculate on what the potential negatives are. What I want is for us to try and come up with a few positives that could potentially come from Donald Trump being when Donald Trump's inaugurated as president.
A positive?
Yeah. Can you come up with a positive? While you come up with a positive, it's kind of like when the waitress comes over to the table and we think everybody's ready to order, but it's going to be a lot of. Can you come back to me in like 2 minutes? I'll order.
Can I get dessert first? Would that be like weird?
Yeah, I some comments. Gator Aunt says she's got nothing. Got nothing. I'm trying to think of some positives. I think if I put a lot of thought into it, I think there's the potential that a Donald Trump presidency, at least within. That's a good point. Okay, so Silky McGilkey is he said that maybe Donald Trump will let felons vote. And okay, so that is something legitimately I feel inclined to agree with. If you have committed a felony, you have served your time, you are now out of prison, you're out on parole. You're not out on parole, but you have served your time. You have repaid society. I think you should be allowed the right to vote. Absolutely.
Fair enough.
You have a job, you're paying taxes, you have a right to vote who it is that's representing how those taxes are being dispersed.
Fair enough.
So I'll
give a little humanity back to those who have served their time. I think the one positive I can start out with is the jokes are going to write themselves.
Oh, I feel at this point.
I mean, he's not president yet, and he's already tried to buy Canada and fucking Iceland. So, and rename the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America because that's what we care about. Gulf of America. We call it the Gulf of Piss. I don't care.
How long do you think? And so Donald Trump will be entering his presidency with the lowest approval rate of any incoming president. I want to say, I think the last thing I saw was like it was 32%. He's the first president to ever be inaugurated. One, as a convicted felon. Two, with approval ratings sub 40. Like this is the first president to ever do that. When Biden came in, he was like mid 40s. Clinton came in, he was in mid 40s. Like Obama was in the upper 50s. You know.
Oh, man. I look forward to eggs being basically free, right? That's supposed to happen.
Why? Well, I am genuinely curious as to why is it that that's the one thing people go to. Like, how many eggs are? And don't get me wrong,
I don't know. Since I was a kid, I think my mom has always gone like, "Jesus Christ, price of eggs, $2.15."
It is an anecdote that people go to a lot of the time, you know. But like,
I get eggs for free, so
that's. Oh, do you want to do a little shout out for your sister's farm?
Yeah, go to Doss Farms. Get you some not free eggs.
Doss Farms, Chapin, South Carolina. Or is they in Little Mountain?
Little Mountain.
Little Mountain, South Carolina. Doss Farms. Ask
my sister gives me free eggs, and so does my in-laws. They have chickens, and I get free eggs there. I got more eggs than I know what to do with. I'm going to start a monopoly.
Ask for Shelby at Doss Farms in Little Mountain, South Carolina.
I got so many eggs, I'll throw them at Donald Trump during the inauguration.
Ooh, careful.
Come at me. Eggs ain't that bad. Get a chicken. Yeah, I don't know.
The price of milk isn't very expensive right now that I can think of. And I say that because for some reason my kids go through this thing where they'll drink a whole lot of milk all at once and we run out of a gallon of milk in less than a week. And then we have a gallon of milk sit there for 2 weeks unopened.
Tell me about it. I think that we need to stop the gas shit that happens. You got the plus price. I'm not talking about the grades of gas. You have your credit card price, your cash price. And if you use a debit card, that counts as neither. You just pay the credit price.
That's fair.
Fuck them. That used to be illegal. Do it again.
That's fair.
Put it back. If Trump could do that, let's give him a third term.
Look, I have fully acknowledged. My bug guy was here today. Lamps Pest Control here in Lexington, South Carolina. Check him out. He didn't know I was going to do that. I didn't.
It's
know
some guy named Lance.
His name's Rick Lamp.
It's Lamp. I think it was Lance.
Pest Control, Lexington, South Carolina.
Let's shine some light on these bugs.
Yes, he's good. He comes every quarter. He does his thing. If we have an issue,
he's in every corner of your house.
Yeah, that's right. That's the.
I don't know what to tell you, Barrett. They just don't like it.
Yeah. But I told him today, we were talking a little politics before he left, but I told him today, look, if Donald Trump accomplishes the things that I think that are important that he has promised, whether it's gas prices going down, if it's grocery prices going down, if he ends the war in Ukraine, if he ends the war, if he somehow negotiates the end of the war in Israel, then
yeah,
I will be the first one to come on here and say, kudos. This is what he said he was going to do, and he did it. I'm not holding my breath. Same as I wouldn't hold my breath if Kamala Harris had promised the same thing and got elected. I'm not going to hold my breath because while I want her to succeed, I want Donald Trump to succeed too, because I don't want to see anyone in the country get harmed.
No, I don't want a clown running it. Let's say he has a stroke that reverses him and he becomes a presidential savant. I would enjoy it. It's not going to happen.
Right.
We already did this, y'all. He's the most incompetent fuck you've ever seen. Round 2 is going to be number 2 of anything has not been better than the first one.
Yeah, my fear is that there are no more adults in the room. That is, Pete Hedgepath is out there.
Well,
he can't even admit that if you ever hit a woman, that could potentially disqualify you from a public office that requires Senate confirmation. That there are allegations, they may be unfounded, but there are women that have gone on the record that he has put their hand on them, and to me, that's disqualifying.
Yeah, he's gonna stock it with people who now have seen what staffers have had to deal with, and staffers that came out and had things to say about it. And now he's going to have staffers that will just take it the entire time and not come out and be like, that was bad. So now you have bona fide psychopaths backing him up. If he says KFC needs to go to the moon, he'd be like, the staffers would be like, yep, that's right. Getting asked on the phone. Donald Trump wants a KFC on the moon so the aliens can have good country cooking. Yeah. All 11 herbs and spices. The most insane shit, he's going to have the most insane people now backing him up.
I
don't know, Barrett. I think the most surprising thing is if we buy fucking Iceland, I would be like, of course.
Oh, Greenland?
It happened. Greenland, yeah. I'd be like, of course it happened this time.
Well, according to surveys done by people that live in Greenland, that they don't want to be part of the United States. They're very happy with their universal health care. They're very.
That's not what Trump Jr. said when he went there for his podcast.
Yeah, I saw some of the stuff from Donald Trump Jr. I look, and nothing against the Trump name or anything like that, but in all honesty, if Donald Trump Jr. says it, I tend to believe that there probably needs to be maybe a finite, at least, amount of research into some of the things he says. And I think people are going to be disappointed that like him, that support him, that they're going to be disappointed in how factually incorrect he is.
Does Greenland have volcanoes?
I am not aware of volcanoes in Greenland. I don't think so.
That'd be nice. Because we could convince Trump Jr. there's a cocaine mine at the bottom of the volcano. And he could land his helicopter and film his podcast down there. Call me crazy.
I would just like to think that our podcast gets more listeners than Donald Trump Jr.'s, but I know that's probably not true. So,
well, all the people he has money for cocaine probably listen to his podcast for like tips of when is he going to pay him back and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, possibly.
He owes me $5. That was for a McRib at a McDonald's at an airport. I didn't know who he was at the time.
Why are we buying airport McRibs?
Why did he want a McRib? I don't know. I'm a human. I had a double quarter pounder meal.
That's fair. That's fair.
He just wanted one McRib, extra onions. It was weird.
Well, Zach, I promised you that this episode wouldn't go an hour, and we've almost gotten there. So I'm gonna wrap it up.
I gotta go. I got important stuff to do.
Yeah, listen to you. By the time you all are listening to this episode, it is January the 20th. It's probably after 12 o'clock, and I guess as one of the hosts of this podcast, I will just say congratulations, Donald Trump, on your inauguration. I sincerely will support all of the things that you do that are good and that do well for the people of this country.
Do I get to say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Donald Trump, congratulations on your nomination and win, and I hope you have a painful shit every time you shit for the next 4 years. And I hope the last one is the worst one. And that it chips the bowl. Fuck you.
That is going to do it for episode number 238 of the All About Nothing podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Links to past episodes, podcast platforms, merchandise, and social media are all available at our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. And if you think our financial model of giving away free content and entertainment is silly, and you're in the giving mood, why not become an official Nothinger and support the show monthly? Members get early access to this episode, as well as exclusive content, or you can join us, or you can join others by giving a one-time donation through the same link. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can call and leave us a message, 803-672-0533. You can email the show at theallaboutnothing.com, or you can join our Discord server. There are links available on our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. You all, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, be kind, and
keep your hands to yourself until Trump comes to Greenland, and then you have to do something about it. Then you can touch people.
The All About Nothing podcast is produced and engineered by me, Barrett Gruber. Thanks to Cake for our intro music, Sick of You. You can follow everything Cake the band at cakemusic.com. Thanks to Muff the producer for our outro music. You can follow Muff on Instagram at Muff the producer. I am Barrett Gruber. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Barrett Gruber, or visit my Linktree /Barrett Gruber. Want to support the show? Visit our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com, and become a member. There are several tiers available, including memberships that give you early access to episodes as well as exclusive content. Visit theallaboutnothing.com. To find links to our social media, merchandise, and past episodes, visit theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be heard on the show, you can call and leave us a message. Dial 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is more than you can handle, check out our partner podcast. Zach and I host What the Pod Was That with Carrie Simmons. Visit whatthepodwasthat.com for links and details. Me takes a deep dive down the rabbit hole in episodes of Welcome to Wonderland. Available on all the podcast platforms. Visit WTWLpod.com for details. As well, you can listen to the political and social conversation between Dr. Jamela Brooks and Bill Kimmler on Black, White, and Blue in the South, available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe and share this show. If you're on YouTube, please like and hit the notification bell. Thank you for listening. The preceding podcast is a product of Big Media and copyright 2025, all rights reserved.